Why the Jeffrey Epstein case inspires so many conspiracy theories. Anna North at Vox.com. The question, folks, is if you tried, could you be this stupid? If you put effort into it, if you dedicated yourself, if you trained your mind, could you be this daft to write an article that is basically pondering why the Jeffrey Epstein case inspires so many conspiracy theories? Why? Why so many unanswered questions? It's a relatively simple thing. A man who was running an international human trafficking ring, who was close friends with politicians, the CEOs of major corporations, prime ministers, a man who had been convicted of molesting underage girls and given a sweetheart deal because, and I quote, Alexander Acosta, Trump's labor secretary, said he, quote, belonged to intelligence. Was given a sweetheart deal where he served around a year in like a minimum security federal prison and left every day to go to work. And part of that deal was that he wouldn't have to inform on his co-conspirators. That man, who was then rearrested a few months ago, supposedly cooperating with prosecutors, charged with several counts of sex trafficking, was going to go to trial and potentially inform on his co-conspirators because there was no get out of jail free card this time. A man who tried to kill himself a few weeks ago in one of the most secure detention centers in America, the Metropolitan Correctional Facility, where they've held El Chapo, where they've held terrorists. I think Zacarias Moussaoui, I could be wrong. That guy who was on suicide watch was taken off suicide watch. His roommate was moved out of his room. And a few hours later, he hung himself in said facility. And now there will be no trial and there will be no open court. Why would a case like that, all these internet loonies, all these tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists, these Redditors, these marginalized creatures that just have to make everything into one big fucking conspiracy. Why would this set them off? You better be asking the question why perfectly rational, reasonable people who had been asleep, who had been fucking asleep, and I mean asleep, watching The Bachelor, asleep, are starting to wake up now, and they're starting to go, like they might not be full on, they're not storming Area 51, but they're even going, you know what? Wait a minute. Something's wrong here. And Ghislaine Maxwell, I just ripped off a part of my nail and then my finger is bleeding. Ghislaine Maxwell, that's how I don't cut my nails. I tear them off anxiously. And that's how I think many of you should do it. I believe in different ways that anxiety should leave the body. And one of them is to tear off your nails. And what will happen is when you're done, when you're bleeding. That's when you know you're done. When is my nail short enough? When there's a pool of blood on your finger and then your nail hurts for the next couple of days. When you go to grab something, your nail will hurt because it's just raw skin. And then the nail grows back. That is how to do it. We're going to go into Ghislaine Maxwell eating an In-N-Out burger because we're living either in a simulation that's glitching, or this is either a psyop where they're basically like, we can do whatever we want now. It doesn't have to make sense. And we're going to distract you because now it's becoming this weird tabloid thing of like, oh, Epstein's gal pal. The bitch was fucking trafficking kids. And they're calling her like Epstein's gal pal. Seen eating it In-N-Out. gal pal. What? It's these bitches taking 13, 14-year-old kids to an island to fuck Bill Richardson, that fat fuck who was a governor of New Mexico. And you're treating this like it's some like fun tabloid scandal. This is the darkest shit humanly possible, and the press is turning it into like some tabloid fodder. Where was Ghislaine spotted? Was she eating an In-N-Out burger? Did she get animal style? Why is she walking around free? Why is nobody asking her questions? She's reading a book about the deaths of CIA agents at a fucking In-N-Out in Ventura or Studio City or whatever location. Jamie Vernon told me where it was. I forgot.
Universal City.
Yeah, what the fuck is happening? There was an article that said she was holed up with some tech guy in Manchester by the Sea, that town. That's weird, too. Oh, she's in a movie? She's in Manchester by the Sea. She's in some big... And if you have any problem, folks, I have a Ricola because I think I'm coming down with something. I'm trying not to smoke. I probably will smoke before the end of the show. I don't smoke other than doing this podcast. I really do not smoke unless I do the podcast. But there's something about the nicotine and the smoking that, you know, I mean, I've done good podcasts and not smoke, but there's something about the nicotine and the cigarette that feels it lends itself to conversation. And any of you that listen to the show, maybe that are younger, vapes, guys, do not lend themselves to conversation the way cigarettes do. Mm-hmm. Because there's no pausing, there's no inhaling, exhaling. I mean, I know there's inhaling, exhaling, but it doesn't feel the same way. There's no give and take. And it just shows that the generation coming up now, a generation that has been, you know, raised primarily online, a generation full of, you know, Adderall and anxiety. You're not learning how to really conversate in the appropriate way. You're just like Ben. See what he does? He just sucks on that every 30 seconds. He doesn't know how to speak to anyone because he doesn't know. It's not his fault. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand how to talk. When you talk to him, he will stare off into the sky and leave because he doesn't know. This whole generation of people has never been taught how to communicate. A big part of learning how to communicate is to smoke cigarettes. So it's really what it is. You know, I mean, I could sugarcoat it. Can you do it without smoking cigarettes? No. Now, I will say this. She got Maxwell. They said she was in Manchester by the Sea. Then they tracked the guy down. Of course, the government, it's all the New York Post doing this. The government has no interest. Okay? They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't care at all where she is, you know? So the New York Post finds her throwing down a double-double or whatever at the Universal fucking In-N-Out, reading a book about the deaths of CIA agents. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then there's a review that's supposedly attributed to her. I'm going to read you guys the review. You got to realize where we are and take stock of this because it's fucking insane. And then I'm going to tell you after this, I'll tell you why I think I'm banned from the Your Mom's House network. I believe I am banned. I don't know. That is not a fact, but I believe after today, I am banned from the Your Mom's House network. I don't know. I do not want to be banned. I am not asking to be banned. I feel is that I am banned after the events of today. We'll go into why. That's my own little scandal. We have a scandal on our hands here, folks. We've got a scandal on our hands. It's not as big as Epstein. There's not as many powerful people involved. There are some, not nearly as powerful, but we do have a scandal. G. Maxwell gave 5 stars to this book. I don't have the name of the book, but you can easily find it. Supposedly sales for this book shot way the fuck up. Okay? Everybody's like, what is she reading? What is the madam reading? What is the madam reading? It's a great way to sell your book if a child pimp is seen reading your book, many people in this country go, yup, that's what we want. She had a harem of child whores. Let's buy this book. Ghislaine Maxwell gives it 5 stars. It goes, a good friend of mine died recently under very tragic circumstances. Some of us saw it coming for quite a while, but it was still a huge shock when it finally happened. I picked up this book at the advice of a friend and absolutely couldn't put it down. I'd read it while walking the dog, getting fast food, or even just lounging around the house. It helped me realize that my friend really believed in something and that giving your life for the CIA, NSA, FBI, Mossad, or other intelligence agency is truly a higher calling and not something to mourn. A wholehearted recommendation. Supposedly, from G. Maxwell, she's reviewing think of this, folks. Think of this. A woman who participated in the horrific abuse of children, who knew damn well why it was going on, is reading a book about the deaths of intelligence operatives, of which Jeffrey Epstein certainly was one. She probably is one. She's probably foreshadowing because she's probably not going to be around forever. Although there's a reason she's still here and she's still doing shit like this. I mean, we're in. Sam Tripoli always used to talk about this chaos theory of like things not having to make sense, and the idea of just this overload of information, a lot of it disinformation. It's hard to look at the events of the last week, and I think you'd have to come to grips with the very small group of powerful people that have had power, had almost absolute and total power for a very long time, are starting to lose it. It's starting to come undone. All these things are starting to come undone, and it's like the 11th hour, and they're getting very sloppy, and they had to get rid of this guy. There was no way he could be in open court. And now this bitch is eating cheeseburgers and reviewing spy novels in LA. And it's like, at a certain point, you're like, this bitch, is she rogue? Is someone instructing her to do this? Is this part of the plan? Do they want people to think he was intelligence? You'd think not, because he clearly was. But is there some benefit to them if it sounds so crazy that people dismiss it? Because maybe it's a step too far for people to believe that this is an activity that's sponsored by elements of our government. Is it easier for people to believe that rich people just have deviant sexual appetites and Epstein was there to satisfy those appetites? Driving them to the idea that he was in the intelligence community, does it make it this shadowy thing that people have a much harder time believing, and it gets too complex and people ultimately check out? I don't know. I'm very interested in why these things are happening. Or have they lost control of the operation? Is it like a play that the director sits in the back and with his head in his hands goes, fuck, God, I hope we make it to act 3. Is that where we're at now? Does anyone think about this? Is everyone just watching the bat? Why is everyone watching the bat? Is it that good? Should I start watching it?
It's not good. It's no good.
Why? The entire country is under the spell of The Bachelor. People have careers because it was like they talk about the bat. What is going on? Is this not more interesting to you than The Bachelor? I don't understand. Rich cunts want to fuck a rich guy, or selfish cunts that aren't rich, whatever. They're not that poor either. They have teeth. Isn't that simple? Don't you get it? The relationships aren't real. Isn't this stuff better? Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Epstein hung himself. His bitch is eating in and out. This was Chelsea Clinton's best friend. This woman was friends with the Clintons. Epstein's got a fucking painting of our president in heels, in drag, in his mansion in New York City, which was outfitted with two-way mirrors and recording equipment for blackmail. And everybody still just wants to talk about The Bachelor. Folks, what would need to happen? I need to understand this personally. I'm not against love. I'm not against dating shows. I'm not against people having fun. I'm not against meaningless horse shit. I traffic in a lot of it. It's what I do for a living. I had a 5-minute bit about ice cream. I understand frivolous activity. But how good is this goddamn show? I'm scared to watch The Bachelor because I think I'm just going to end up babbling about The Bachelor for the rest of my life. Because I'm looking around going, this shit's pretty interesting, but there are people that are offended if you ask them to like what their opinion is. They're like, well, I don't really know about I don't know about that. That's not my beat. I do Bachelor. What? People just love. I don't know. I don't want to offend any of you in my audience that maybe like The Bachelor. I'm sure it's a fun show. But does it not interest anyone that there's clearly a glitch in the fucking Matrix and we're all watching this in real fucking time? I have a lot of respect for the Your Mom's House Network. There's clearly a glitch in the fucking Matrix. Offend any of you in my audience that maybe like The Bachelor. I'm sure it's a fun show. But does it not interest anyone that there's clearly a glitch in the fucking Matrix and we're all watching this in real fucking time? I have a lot of respect for the Your Mom's House Network. I think it's a great network. I think Tom and Christina are very funny. Dr. Drew, who's also on the network, he's very talented at what he does. And I've never listened to his show, but I liked Celebrity Rehab and I enjoyed Loveline with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. They're good people, and that's fine. I want to preface this by saying my first instinct is always to lie, and it is always the right instinct for the most part. Lying shows that you've taken a time to think about what's happening and that you care about what's happening. Telling the truth is like not wearing deodorant. It's inconsiderate, and it means that you don't care. It means that you don't have any regimen. You haven't thought about anything. You've kind of just rolled out of bed. That's why truth, when you're honest with somebody, there's a premium to that. It's usually with somebody you really like, a friend, somebody you're fucking. There's a premium to honesty because it's rare. Honesty is not something that happens all the time for good reason. People just don't walk around being honest with each other. The world would be in utter chaos. If everybody told everybody what they thought of each other, it would be an utter chaos. People have to be kept in the dark. They have to be lied to and manipulated. This is why we have what we have with the Epstein and the da-da-da. Okay? I'm just saying how it is. I'm not saying how it should be. I'm not moralizing. I'm telling you what it is. People keep secrets. No, conspiracies aren't real because no one can keep secrets. You're keeping secrets right now from your wife. And you're telling me that no one can keep secrets. You're keeping secrets with somebody you sleep next to. Secrets get kept for fucking years. People have secret families they never talk about. There's good liars out there. You know who says nobody can keep secrets? Bad liars. Bad liars can never believe in conspiracies because they don't know how to fucking lie. They don't know how to create and craft a narrative. Lies, you can't just fuck around with a lie here and there. You got to be constantly lying all the time. You got to create a world and populate it with untruths. Big lies require little lies to sustain them. That's a famous quote. I don't know who said it. That's what needs to happen. Pathological lies lie all the time because they want to be good at it. If you drink and drive every night, statistically, you're going to be better at it. Am I telling you to do it? No, I'm telling you what it is. If you drink and drive once a month, you're going to be all nervous. Same with driving high. Same with lying. Same with fucking. Same with stand-up comedy. You got to do it a lot, okay? So my first instinct in many situations is to spin a yarn, a fable, a lie, an untruth, because I care about the person on the other end. I realize that I've done the wrong thing, and rather than admit it like a crazy person, I lie to cover it up because I realize I was wrong. You're lying because you realize you're wrong. If anyone calls you on a lie, say, I'm lying to you because I know that I'm wrong and I love you. Being honest with you would be insane. Am I insane? Are you insane? Honesty is not the best policy. No one says that. You know who says that? School teachers, because they talk to children all day, because they have childlike minds. We don't need any advice that's on a guidance counselor's wall. It's not going to help. Don't hit me about, oh, well, honesty. No, lie. Even after today, I will still lie. I'm only upset at the fact that my lie was not good. Never lie quick. Take a minute, take a breath. Show's a lot of fun. I've new 45 minutes of material. And I also, you know me, I fucking talk about all kinds of shit on stage. It's not only material, trust me. To the, to the consternation of some of my representatives. They're like, we really can't submit this tape where you just go off about the Illuminati for 10 minutes. I'm like, but the audience is laughing. They're like, yeah, but you're directly referencing networks. And I'm like, this isn't. I'm like, well, yeah, I understand that. I think in one tape I submitted, I said carpool karaoke would only be funny if they get into an accident. So they were like, yeah, we shouldn't really submit this. And you said Jimmy Fallon was chained to his desk so he didn't bite someone's tit. I'm like, is that not how that show works? I mean, I imagine that's how that show works. He's injected with things, and then he's chained to the desk. Am I wrong? Is that not how late night television works? Is he doing this of his own free will? I mean, I know he's making money, but after a while. Guess who's on Fallon tonight? Billie Eilish, our girl with a leg brace. I wonder what happened. Billie. Did you trip at Bohemian Grove? I know she's not a saint. She's probably just fucking boring. Or maybe she is. What the fuck do I know? I don't care anymore. Nobody's giving me anything. The fuck am I protecting? I'd sit down with her if she bought me lunch. She's got to buy me lunch. Bitches in arenas. I'm hawking CBD. Sit down. Explain to me why you're good. Explain to me why this is good. I'm Billie. You want me to be Billie? I'm going to be Billie Eilish right now. Okay, everybody ready? I am sad, but you high. I don't know why you are. Yeah, I wanna sacrifice a baby. Defiling innocence is the highest sacrament in the religion I am in. Ha, 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 ha. Death. That's Billy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Show. Take a look at this.
I have a hot take. I actually like candy corn.
I do too! That's so funny. I'm too scared to say it.
You're also dressed like a candy corn.
It's so controversial to say these days.
If you say that you like candy corn, people will walk away.
So funny. I just said that yesterday and I was like, it tastes like buttery syrup to me, like Mrs. Buttersworth.
Melts in your mouth and has a little crust on the outside anyway.
Dude, I'm not kidding. I wrote out a tweet that said, guys, I kind of like candy corn, and I deleted it because I backspace on it because I was like, too controversial.
Canceled.
Like, not anymore.
God, please stop
not
that. Please stop that. Don't you see my point now that if Chrissy Teigen was eating children, it would be the coolest thing about her? Don't you get it now? Don't you understand that a lot of this QAnon shit makes these people look cooler than they are? Oh yeah, she's some high priestess of the satanic religion. She's like a dumb trash bitch who somehow figured out a way to get famous, and she's sitting with Whitney talking about candy corn. I mean, God bless Whitney. That Wendy Williams, what a woof. That was a big disaster. That week, and we love Whitney, but that week was a very large disaster Whitney subbing in for Wendy Williams, who's, I believe, in rehab or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And I don't, if she's not in rehab, I don't want to say she's in rehab.
And mental health relief. Let me double check on that.
Whatever's going on with her, we wish her well. DeStefano went on there and he had a rough go of it. Yeah. It's not an audience for comedy. They don't really want jokes. They want Wendy Williams, who is hilarious, and you can't compete with Wendy Williams. Just like the SNL audience, they don't really want comedy. They want to hear stuff and they want to go, yes! Like they want to like energetically agree, and it's like a pep rally. It's just like a pep rally for people that are not doing good and feel upset and got free tickets to a show, and they want to get pumped up. That's what it is. What is this? I want to talk about this cool mom who's going to jail, because I hate that. I hate when a rat implicates a cool mom. Everybody knows that when you were in high school, you were in this weird in-between between being a child and being an adult. You got to learn how to be an adult. And learning how to be an adult involves drinking, using drugs, and having sex. And a lot of times you need a safe environment, or sometimes an unsafe environment, to do all of those things. That's where the cool mom becomes a thing. Kathy Griffin used to talk about this, like how Lindsay Lohan's mom, Dina Lohan, was one of the moms that would do coke with the kids and stuff, But, we had families like that. We had a woman when I grew up who had a big eye, one big eye, and sold us all drugs. And we loved her because someone's got to treat you like an adult. This is my point. Somebody's got to treat you like an adult, even when you are undeserving of being treated like an adult. This woman had the gall, the unmitigated gall, to treat children like adults. Kids that are raging hormones that need a place to do drugs and fuck each other safely in a wealthy suburban home. This woman provided a 6,000 square foot house.
Big.
Yeah, a huge house with many different rooms and alcoves and places to go. And she created this environment where cool kids, or kids that were in the group, were able to go and get really drunk, test their limits, find out how much booze was too much booze. How are you supposed to learn this before you go to college and you look like an idiot? You have to learn it. In high school, you have to learn how much booze is too much booze. What drugs agree with your system, what drugs don't. And what she did was create a vibe. Truly. And she threatened a few people because cool moms, badass bitches like this woman have to threaten the weak, because the weak are would-be rats who ruin it for everybody. And I mean, let's get into this story a little bit, because as soon as I read it, I knew that a great injustice had been done. And one of the things that you know about me is I feel comedy is a way to correct all the injustices of the world. That's the way I feel. I don't think it is funny or should be funny. I think it should be about injustices and just to discuss trans people from any angle. Pro, against, confused. And the Democrats are now doing the bill. The Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, they're going forward with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and they're carving out money so that Dave Chappelle does 5 more specials all about trans people on that. And I thought it was a good compromise. I like that. Quote here, glad she's gone. Los Gatos reels after mom arrested for drunken teen sex parties. Shannon O'Connor was known as the cool but creepy mom. Read some of this, Ben, because I read this. I was incensed and enraged. And I don't really have an infrastructure to go and try to help this woman, but if I did, I really would.
So O'Connor is now facing 39 criminal charges, including 12 felony counts of child endangerment.
This is more than bin Laden. This is more than Osama Bin Laden would have faced. By the way, all of the people who've done all of the things, the destroying of people's property, the burning down of small businesses, nobody's like facing anything. This woman is facing 39 criminal charges, 12 felony counts of child endangerment for, quote, allegedly plying teens with alcohol, getting them drunk to the point of vomiting, and encouraging them to have sex. You know what that used to be called? Being cool. What the fuck? It used to be called being cool. She's not fucking the kids. She's not watching them fuck. She doesn't have a Jeffrey Epstein-style surveillance system, right?
Right.
From what I understand.
Right.
She's simply creating the conditions, facilitating what may happen anyway. Maybe she's lighting a fire under a few of their asses to get it going. And she's being charged with... I knew parents back in the day who would buy us alcohol. My grandmother would buy us a bottle of vodka when we were in senior year. What is going on here? What are you supposed to do at a high school party? You're supposed to get drunk. If you're not drinking at a high school party, you're planning a school shooting.
But also, fuck Stranger Things. I've had enough of that.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
tired of
enough of that.
They're like older now.
Hey, enough. No one cares. Stop with this nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
You're all on some odd nostalgia high
Yep.
for the 80s.
Steven Spielberg shit.
You know what the 80s was? AIDS and crack for a lot of people. I know you lily white bitches think the 80s was all about malls and carnivals, but for a lot of people, the AIDS was about watching your friend waste away because he had a disease the government wouldn't say is true, or watching mom light a rock in your living room because the CIA was selling it to her. I want to see that Stranger Things episode.
I used to get coked out of my face, put a bunch of friends in my Suburban, drive around really wealthy areas in Long Island and point to the houses and go, they deserve this money. They deserve it. They're better than we are. Screaming, sweating, screaming. And my friends would be like, yeah. Back of the car, they were terrified. They're like, are we going to die? What's wrong with this guy? I'd be like, they deserve it. Don't take their money, make your own money.
Where's the Stranger Things episode where Winona Ryder's smoking crack and she doesn't give a shit about the Demogorgon anymore? She doesn't care about the alien. She's like, will you kids shut the fuck up about this alien? And she just smacks them right across the face and she just lights a rock. Where's that episode? Where's the savings and loan scandal where they all lose their fucking houses and Winona Ryder is fucking smoking crack in a car that they're all living in? Hopper.
Yeah.
Hopper has AIDS because he's sucking cock and not telling anyone about it. He's a leather daddy. He's doing intravenous drugs.
I have no honesty with myself or others. I am a shell of a human being, genuine shell of a human being. I live to entertain people, to make them happy for nothing, for no reason. I barely enjoy that. It's just what I have to do. I'm built to do nothing else. I'm just a vector of negative energy that will either go into a heroin needle or go into a stupid joke. I tell it fucking, the giggle pig, which should be the name of a comedy club and isn't. Welcome to the Giggle Pig. Don't take out your phones. This is art.
Winona Ryder would have been sniffing her fucking face off in that kitchen. Numb mouth, barely speak, saying to the kids, like, Mom, what happened to my piggy bank? Shut up. I'm going out. I happen to really enjoy funerals. I love funerals. I love the wake. I love the burial. I love the drive to the funeral. Everything about a funeral. I love seeing people you haven't seen in a while, but in a space where you know you don't have to keep up. Mm-hmm. It's weird to exchange numbers. Nobody's serious. Nobody's going to follow up with each other in a week and go, hey, we saw each other at the funeral. You'd be insane if you did that. You'd be like, what? So if you even reconnect at a funeral, it's so brief. It's so surface. It's so shallow. It's so nice. A voice for the voiceless. Who are these voiceless people? All I'm inundated with all day is people's voices. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, nobody shuts the fuck up. There's nobody in this country without a voice unless they literally don't have a voice. Unless they literally had their throat removed with cancer. There's nobody that doesn't have a voice. In fact, I think people's voices are a little too loud. The voiceless. That shit might have worked 10 years ago. There's no one who's voiceless anymore. Bill Cosby's tweeting from a prison cell at Snoop Dogg. I like to be sad and think about my own mortality and feel bad for other people. I like to look at other people that have lost a loved one and feel bad for them. And sometimes it's nice when it's an older person and we could all say it's a life well lived. But sometimes it's nice when it's someone younger. Sometimes it's nice when it's somebody it was unexpected or someone, and we all have to really reflect on what it means, because the older people, you don't have to reflect on what it means as much. You get it. They lived a good life, but sometimes it's got to be dark and real tragic, and they've got to be young. It's got to be young to really get the cry on and get the purge. You got to purge. You got to question, what is life? Why are we here? Am I on the right track? These are very important things. LA, they have silent retreats and yoga. In the Northeast, we had funerals. People would just die. What about a good documentary about cigarettes? Not about how fucked up they are, about the tradition of tobacco, which did probably have to do. That's gets into slaves, but not that. I mean, a recent, what were all the cigarette companies? And I'm interested in that. I want to know about that. I'm going to die one day because of them. I want to know more about them. Not just a rat documentary like Rat Leah Remini, who's, everybody hates Scientology now that they're millionaires, but they didn't hate it. They didn't mind torturing the kids when it was getting them all the opportunities. I see you rats. You're all full of shit. Okay? You don't do something for 30 fucking years and then decide it's not for you. Shut the fuck up. Go out like the fucking mafia and suck David Miscavige's dick. Have you ever had a funeral meal where you go out afterwards and everybody's eating and you're relaxing? It's kind of fun again. It's kind of nice again. Yes, we buried someone and they're not here. But that means more shrimp cocktail for us. We're here. We're alive. Marlboro Lights, they're not just for substitute teachers who want to die. You ever see your sub smoking? I used to do coke with my sub. My sub was a real Italian, real Dago wop bitch. And she used to come over to the coke house and get a couple of bags. Her and her husband used to probably load up and fuck each other like animals. Then she'd come in the next day with 15 circles under her eyes, looked like a raccoon, drinking coffee. Just put on a video and go sit in the back. She was still coming down. She was a good woman. I miss her. And maybe it's at a sit-down restaurant, or maybe afterwards you do something at a bar and you just some wings and a couple of cocktails. My friend Michael's mother, let me tell you right now, I don't want anyone to die, but the meatballs I had after dinner, I would kill her myself. I would they were so good, soft. That's what meatballs should be. And listen. Well, all the furniture you couldn't sit in. It was like art pieces. All of the furniture was like, it was like a little.
You couldn't sit in, or Tony Hinchcliffe couldn't sit in?
Tony Hinchcliffe is a bird. He can perch on things. I'm a human. I'm an American human. We can't sit on a fucking leather cowhide chair. But we've had a party. We had a big party. And the party was fun. And the music of the party was fun. And everybody, well, now the music's not too fun at the party anymore because nobody can sing anymore. You turn on the music and everybody's like, help me. And you go, this isn't that fun anymore. And you used to be able to turn on the TV at the party and see some fun stuff and chuckle and go, but you can't because you turn on the TV and it's Chelsea Handler going, you're white. So that's not fun anymore either. And the party itself is starting to feel not too fun anymore. But then there are people at the party that are going, we can keep the party going if you come into this room. And you go, what's in this room? And you go, well, there's a million words you can't say, and you can't look at each other, and you can't have any feelings, thoughts, or expressions. And here's a little chip, and we're putting it in your ass. And do you have coronavirus? And put on your mask, and don't speak. And if you have a business, you can't run it. Stand in the corner and look at the fucking floor. And there's other people that are going, well, we can keep the party going too, but you got to come in this room. And you go, what do you do in this room? We just jump around without the music, and if you say there is no music, we kill you.
This is a beautiful thing when someone is ripped from us. Not when it's a young person, unless they're very young.
Okay? So anybody that wants to be in the woods for an extended period of time, I believe, is out of their fucking mind. I don't know what influence they're under, spiritual or otherwise, but I think it's a big problem. I truly believe that. And I know I say a lot of things for effect here, but I mean, all these people, Joshua Tree, everybody, I want you gotta go to Joshua Tree and take mushrooms and then figure your life out. I'll figure your life out for you first. Instead of going to Joshua Tree, blow your brains out in the car. How about that? I'll figure it out. Don't bother the aliens with your life decisions. I'll tell you what to do. Pull off the 10 East and swallow a Desert Eagle. Give up this mystical realm you all keep fucking around in. You are slovenly, selfish pigs. You have no fucking thought to what it would. What are you going to commune with the? For what? What do you think? You're Terrence McKenna? You're going out to Joshua Tree to get more energy so you can go back to your job ripping people off. Take shrooms for the fun of it, but don't pretend it's some fucking journey. You're not a shaman. You're not a shaman. You work at a production company that makes shows about midgets. Stop looking for mystical experiences and go to work.